Understanding HTML frames let you split the browser window into sections, each showing a different HTML file. This technique was common before CSS layouts and HTML5. Knowing frames helps with legacy code and web history. What are HTML frames? Definition frames divide the browser into multiple independent sections. Purpose: each section can display a different HTML document. Legacy use frames were used for layouts before CS and HTML5. Frames in HTML are used in web development to divide a web page into separate sections. Each frame can display its own HTML document. To control the layout and size of these frames, developers use frame sets that allow for independent scrolling and customization of content. Frames are crucial elements of the web development process. Key HTML frame tags: frame set defines window division by rows or columns. Frame specifies the content for each frame section. No frames: fallback content for browsers that do not support frames. Frame set versus body tag: frame set replaces the body tag in frame-based documents. No body: do not use body tag with frame set. Important: mixing frame set and body tags causes errors. Attributes: description calls specifies how many columns are contained in the frame set and the size of each column. You can specify the width of each column in one of four ways. Absolute values in pixels. For example, to create 3 vertical frames, use calls x100, 500,100, a percentage of the browser window. For example, to create 3 vertical frames, use calls 10, 80, 10, using a wildcard symbol. For example, to create 3 vertical frames, use calls x10 equal 10. In this case, wildcard takes remainder of the window as relative widths of the browser window. For example, to create 3 vertical frames, use calls equals 3, 2, 1. This is an alternative to percentages. You can use relative widths of the browser window. Here the window is divided into sixths. The first column takes up half of the window, the second takes 1/3, and the third takes 1/6. Rows. This attribute works just like the calls attribute and takes the same values, but it is used to specify the rows in the frame set. For example, to create 2 horizontal frames, use rows equals 10, 90%. You can specify the height of each row in the same way as explained above for columns. Border. This attribute specifies the width of the border of each frame in pixels. For example, border equals 5. A value of 0 means no border. Frame border. This attribute specifies whether a 3-dimensional border should be displayed between frames. This attribute takes value either 1 or 0. For example, frame border equals 0 specifies no border. Frame spacing. This attribute specifies the amount of space between frames in a frame set. This can take any integer value. For example, frame spacing x10 means there should be 10 pixels spacing between each frames. Horizontal frames example: 30% top frame display.html in the upper section. 70% bottom frame displays bottom HTML in the lower section. Syntax uses frame set rows equals 30 text 70 to split horizontally. Horizontals example: frame rows equals 10 80 HG, frame name equal SR top frame, H frame main SRC x main frame. HTML name is bottom, SRC equals bottom frame, frame set. This layout splits the screen into 3 horizontal frames. Top 10% could be a header or menu, main 80% main content area, bottom 10% possibly a footer or copyright. Each frame loads a different HTML file. Explanation: vertical frames के all Zeeks 20 GB 50 T5 DTM frame equals left SR/HTML frame equals SRT center frame HTML frame name right SRC frame.html. Frame set. It splits the browser window into 3 vertical sections and displays different HTML files in each section. Left section 25% left frame. HTML center section 50% center frame. HTML right section 25% right frame. HTML explanation nested frames example. Step 1 top 35% is a single frame. Step 2 bottom 65% splits into 2 vertical frames. Step 3 left and right frames to display left HTML and right HTML. Frame bookstore website. Top frame displays logo and navigation menu. Left frame shows book categories. Right frame displays book details based on selection. Bottom frame contains contact information. Frames in modern web development, HTML5 frames and frameset are not supported in HTML5. CSS layouts, modern layouts use CSS and div tags instead. Legacy code frames knowledge helps with older websites. Advantages of HTML frames multiple documents allows simultaneous display of multiple documents. Static sections enable static sections while other sections scroll or update. Complex layouts simplifies complex layouts by dividing content into manageable sections. Limitations of HTML frames accessibility issues screen readers struggle with frames-based layouts. Usability problems bookmarking individual frames is difficult. Compatibility issues deprecated in HTML5. Modern browsers favor iframe. While HTML frames offered simplicity in layout design, their limitations make them unsuitable for contemporary web development practices. When to use frames today, legacy projects maintain or update old sites using frames. Historical reference understand web history and evolution. Learning purpose study frames for educational reasons only. Designing a homepage in HTML. Step-by-step guide. Learn the essential steps to create a user-friendly homepage in HTML from planning to publishing. This guide covers layout, structure, content, and styling basics. Set up your project folder. Create a folder. Make a dedicated folder for your website files. Organize files, place HTML, CSS, and images inside for easy management. Stay organized. Consistent organization saves time later. Create the HTML file, open code editor, use VS Code, Notepad, or your favorite editor. Name the file, create indexed HTML as your homepage file. Start coding, begin building your homepage structure. Steps to design a web page using HTML and CSS. Step 1. Planning and content structure. Before diving into coding, it's essential to plan your web page's layout and content structure. Consider the purpose of your page, your target audience, and the type of content you want to present. Sketch a rough layout, including the main sections such as headers, navigation, content, and footers. Step 2. Setting up your development environment. To design a web page, you need a code editor. There are various options available, both free and paid. Some popular choices include Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, and Atom. Choose the one that suits your preferences. Step 3. Creating the HTML structure. HTML provides the structure and organization for your web page. Write basic HTML structure. Doc type defines the document as HTML5 contains metadata and page title. Body holds all visible content. Add layout elements, header, site title, and navigation bar. Navigation links for easy access. Main content area for updates and info. Footer copyright or contact info. Style with CS. Create style.css. Add a CSS file to your project folder. Link in head connect style.cs in the HTML head section. Customize appearance. Adjust fonts, colors, and layout for better design. Insert content headings. Use H1, H2, H3 for structure. Paragraphs. Add p tags for text blocks. Images and links. Insert IMG and text as needed. Placeholders use sample text or images if content isn't ready. Publish your homepage upload files. Transfer your project folder to a web hosting platform. GoLive Your homepage is now accessible online. Share, send your website link to friends or clients. Review and test preview. Open indexed HTML in your browser. Check links. Test all navigation and images. Adjust, refine content and styling for clarity.